Hello everybody, and welcome back to another experimental color palette swatching. This time I'm doing Valentines. As with my last two experimental palettes, I will have a high-res scan of this available to download for free on my Ko-Fi page if you would like to get a closer look at these colors. So I pulled out all my swatches again and started digging through them. My first thought was to go through and get all the colors that had sort of a lovely rose or Valentine's-y type name in them, but then I ended up with a palette of mostly just all pinks and purples, which I don't think it would make for very interesting swatching. Let's see what I came up with. So the first color I thought of course, when I thought of Valentine's was red, and I chose Winsor Newton's Sanguine Red. Red is known to represent love and passion, and that's pretty representative of Valentine's, I think. And the word sanguine in the title of this color means optimistic or positive. So the next color, of course, when I think of Valentine's, I think of pink. So I chose Rose Madder Genuine from Winsor Newton. Pink is representative of unconditional love, and it's all around just sort of a sweet and romantic color. And of course the name Rose Madder, it has a rose in it, and who doesn't think of roses around Valentine's? So the next color I decided to pick was Daniel Smith's Lavender. Lavender isn't necessarily specific to Valentine's, but again, it's another one of those romantic, relaxing scents and flowers that often show up in bouquets. It just reminded me of sort of the romantic view of like fields of lavender. So after I got all these pinks, purples down, I decided the next color I needed was something to balance that out, and I needed a green. To represent, of course, the leaves that are in the palette. So I chose Winsor Newton's Hooker's Green. And again, I chose this color because it's very sort of leafy green, and I thought it went really good to sort of balance and ground the reds, pinks, and purples that I had already chosen. I then decided I needed to have a darker color in my palette, and so I did decide to go with Daniel Smith's Moon Glow. Moon Glow itself is such a romantic name for a paint or a color, I think. And I envision, romantic moonlit walks on the beach and things like that. And purple, so this also goes for the lavender color. Purple, the color, represents first love and bonding, devotion, all very love sort of words. So to round this palette off and to please my sparkling loving watchers out there, I decided to pick a metallic, and I picked silver. So this color is pretty new to me and I don't know much about it, and they are by the brand, I'm totally gonna butcher this, Akashaya Gansai. I thought of jewelry, maybe the sparkle you get from diamonds, also foil wrapped chocolates. I mean, I think that might be one of my favorite parts of Valentine's, of course, is the foil wrapped chocolates. Anyways, there are the colors I chose. Let's see what colors I got by mixing them. Okay, let's start the swatching. The Sanguine Red is actually quite cool, but it is still such a lovely red rose, pretty color. And we'll get mixing with the Rose Madder Gen. I love the way this paint smells. I don't know why this one paint smells so good, but it does. And there's not really going to be a whole lot of, color shift here because they're relatively similar, these colors. But I decided to include them both anyways. There, one a little bit more on the red, one a little bit more on the pink. Get our little bloops of water in there. Boop, boop. Feeling just my plain Rose Madder one here. I forgot to do that. Such a pretty little, petal pink. I used to live in a townhouse complex, and there was This was a semi-wild rose bush close by, and the petals were this color pretty much exactly. And I loved it, and I used to pull a branch or two off every spring and make myself a little bouquet of them. Next we're going to do the sanguine and the lavender. So just a little bit of the sanguine, we can take it more purpley. Like the lavender is quite cool and close to blue actually. And then obviously I think if we put a lot of the red in there, actually, you know what, it's kind of it's making a very dusky sort of pink. It's kind of cool actually. I don't even know what to compare this color to. It's like a mauve, a dusky mauve. There, yeah, the white kind of gives it sort of a dusky, not really a chalkiness, but kind of a chalkiness. You get my drift? Kind of like that. Okay, and now we're going to move on to the Hooker's Green. So we're going to start to see some more drastic color mixes, I believe. Green and red are complements, and they will mute each other out. First we'll get just the plain old green in here. I kind of feel like this whole corner, once I get done, is going to feel very like a bouquet. Okay, so a tiny little bit of that in here. Actually, that green is quite powerful. There you go. And we're kind of getting into like a, you can't really see. Sort of an olive, but not quite. The green really, really quickly overpowered that red. But you can see it's definitely more earthy than that one. Getting great coverage with these paints today. I think we might get some color separation in this one, even though neither of those two colors are really granulating. Try to get just a tiny little bit of that in there. Okay. So now we're getting into like a burgundy or a maroon. It's kind of like actually like a red wine color. Still very Valentine-y. I think you could have yourself a glass of wine on Valentine's. I mean, I have myself a glass of wine even when it's not Valentine's. Okay, and on to the Moon Glow. Again, this one, I don't know. Now that I'm kind of interested to see what kind of mixes it's going to make, because as I was swatching them out by themselves, I was thinking that maybe it was too purple. Like I could have gone even more neutral. The name Moon Glow, it's so romantic. It's hard to find a balance between a usable, functioning palette for mixing and painting and one that's kind of also cool and makes you think of a certain thing. Okay, now we're going to mix it with the sanguine, and I don't really know. We're just going to get a slightly more red Moon Glow and a slightly darker sanguine. It's very pretty here though, this almost like a blueberry color. Okay, you go here. And then use enough of it to just muddy up this sanguine a little bit. And we're getting back into that sort of wine territory. But this one's a little bit cooler than the last one. And actually the last one, now that it's dried, looks much more dull and more, again, maroon or burgundy, I don't know the difference, as opposed to the wine color that it looked when it was first wet. And we get our bloops in there. Bloop. Bloop. Just because I like to see these blooms and if there's any color separations. Which one did I think was going to color separate? This one. No, it doesn't look like it did. And the last sanguine mix is with this silver, which is in this flat pan looking thing. Just bought this on a whim along with the gold one because I didn't have any metallics. And I thought when I was doing my Christmas cards and my Christmas colors that maybe I should have some metallics kicking around. And I know that some of you out there watching really love the sparkles. Oh, you didn't see any of that. I think we're going to get like a pinky silver and a slightly metallic red. It's cool though. It's interesting to see how it reacts with these other pigments. I don't know anything about this silver paint. That's kind of pretty. We can get this over here. The sanguine red with just a little bit of sparkle in there. The metallic paint makes the paints feel a little bit heavier or something. Awesome. I can't wait to see those when they're dry. All right, that is it for the sanguine. On to rose madder. I just want to show you really quick. I got a little bit of the moon glow on this palette and the sanguine and the silver, and I don't know if that's showing up on camera, but it's kind of just like this fun sparkly mess. It's the prettiest palette mud I have ever made. You know, I don't know if you watched my swatching pinks video, but I love the smell of this paint. I don't know what it is about my tube of Winsor Newton Rose Madder Genuine. I don't know if they're all like this or if it's just mine, but it smells so pretty. Okay, first up, rose madder and lavender. Oh, look at that pretty. It's very bright, not bright, it's a vibrant periwinkle, I guess, maybe. It's very, well, maybe it's purplier. I don't know what this color is, but it's very pretty. Forget-me-not, maybe? Maybe it's the color forget-me-nots. There's another nice purpley color. Very warm. And get our bloops. Bloop. Is it big enough? I don't think so. Bloop. And bloop. Okay. And now onto Rose Madder and Hooker's Green. So similarly to the Sanguine, the pink is just muting out that green a little bit and making it more earthy, as you would expect, being that pink is on the red spectrum and is complementary to green. But this mix is, it's earthier than the original Hooker's Green, but it's cooler than the Sanguine. And then we're getting just sort of this pale browny gray. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is just grab a little bit more Rose Madder. Yeah, it's like a soft, warm gray, and it's I've kind of got too much water, so it's not really very pigmented, but you can see the color. It's a very nice, natural, sort of dusky, warm pinkish gray, which had I had more pigment in it, you could have made probably much more of, not vibrant, but intense, I guess. Okay, moving along to Moonglow. And we'll get some similar mixes like we did to the Sanguine, except for that the Rose Madder does seem to be a little bit cooler. Just a little bit of that. You can't see anything again. Okay. Just a little bit of that and mix it in. You can see here it's similar, just cooler. Another sort of berry sort of color. Like, I'm thinking like the juice of fresh berries, and you squeeze them and that juice stains whatever, your hands or whatever. And on to the silver, which I feel is going to be pretty predictable. I'm just changing this camera angle here just a little bit, if it'll let me. This is actually very, very similar to the Sanguine. Again, maybe just a smidge cooler, but it's almost identical. Slightly pinky metallic. It's funny how, I don't know if you saw that, like the paint seems to push the silver away. Okay, let's just move this over a bit so you can see it. Take a little bit of that lavender and put it in the green. Actually, not a whole lot is changing, is it? I guess it's getting a little bit, it is getting lighter and cooler. There we go. Oh yeah, it's brighter. It's brighter than the original. It's because it's got that white in there. But it did use up all of my purple, so I'm going to use this purple here to get my next color. And now we're getting kind of a greenish, grayish mud. That green is really, really taking over this lavender. Okay, lavender and moon glow. This is the one when I was like putting the moon glow down, and I was like, I already have a purple. Like, this isn't going to be very fun to mix. So, yeah, let's see. I think let's just see what happens here. Take a little bit of the lavender and add it into the moon glow. I think we're just going to end up with a sort of a pastel version of moon glow, which is not a bad thing. Yeah, that is quite nice. Here's our darker lavender. See, I guess it's still all in the purple family, but they are quite nice mixes, actually. And the last lavender mix is with the silver. And again, I think this will be a relatively predictable result. Actually, it'd be interesting to see how much this silver metallic shines through that white paint in the lavender mix. Oops, shoot, put that in the green. I gotta clean my brush. Just sort of a smoky, violety, well, lavender, I suppose, metallic-y color. I might have had too much water on that one. I'm not getting any shift here at all in hue, but we are adding some sparkle. And again, we'll see what it looks like when it's dry, how much of that sparkle actually makes it through that white pigment. Okay, Hooker's Green and Moon Glow. Well, that's made like a really dark, cool, sort of a forest green. Not too dissimilar from a Parylene green, actually. Though I think when it dries, it's going to be considerably more interesting than Parylene green. As much as I love Parylene green for its moodiness, it dries very, very dull. This is a very greeny, dark, kind of almost grayish, actually. And it's just enough, it just cools off that Hooker's Green a little bit. That green is quite a powerful green. There's our kind of pastel-y, sparkly green. The little the little silver flecks of this paint seem rather large and seem to float on top. Okay, last mix is the Moon Glow and the silver. It's Gives a deeper, steely sort of gray look with that little bit of moon glow in there. I'm gonna get my little bloops in here. Bloop. Bloop. And we're gonna let that dry and take the tape off and get a really nice close look at the colors. And again, I'm using my that delicate cotton paper. So I'm gonna be removing the tape with a heat gun. So I will do it off camera because that will be really loud and annoying, and I will be back when it's dry. Okay, and I'm back. Everything is dry and the tape is removed, and here are the colors. So there are some of the mixes. Everything definitely has that feeling of like a romantic, almost vintage sort of bouquet of flowers. You can see color separation here with the hooker's green and the rose madder. Kind of interesting. I hope the metallics show up on screen. They settled, the little metallic bits seemed to be heavier than the rest of the pigment from my other paints, and they kind of sat on top and pooled, like ended up pooling in these little spots. I definitely feel like I hit sort of a Valentine's Day vibe with this palette. More successfully, I think, than maybe the other two palettes I've done and what seasons they were supposed to represent. I decided to call this one Colors of Romance because this is a very romantic palette to me. Very romantic type colors. But yeah, as with the other two, I had a lot of fun doing this, and I'm going to keep doing these because they are a lot of fun. I actually think I'm going to do one for Easter, and when I was swatching out this lavender here, I was thinking it might be fun to try to do a pastels palette to see if I have enough pastel watercolors that I could actually do a pastels palette, because I thought that would be cute for Easter and springtime. But other than that, if there are any other types of palettes that you would like to see me try to experiment, please do leave comments and suggestions in the comments, because the idea for this particular palette did come from a viewer. Thank you so much. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching this. I hope it inspires you to get playing with watercolors or picking out some random colors and seeing what kinds of mixes you can make with them. And until the next video, I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.